Aloha and welcome to Connection to the Cosmos with me, your host, Dr. Lisa Thompson, where I have out of this world conversations with extraordinary people. Today, I am so excited to have my friend Brandi Strieter on. She was on last year, so if you caught that, we're going to get deeper into the galactic realm. First, I want to just do a couple of announcements before I bring her onto the screen. So, if you have not signed up for my free 20-minute meditative journey to meet your galactic family and guides, make sure you go to my website, mysticmanta.com or drlisajthompson.com and grab that meditative journey. And I would love to know who you meet on the journey. Every experience is very different. I can tell you that from hearing from different clients. Also, my galactic retreat experience. I still have a couple spots available for that. That's September 14th to the 17th this year here on the Big Island in Waikoloa. So more information about that is also on my website. And then if you are coming to the Big Island anytime throughout the year, come see me on one of my Big Island UFO tours, and I will teach you how to identify the moving objects in the sky, and you'll see some activity like you've never seen before. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to bring Brandi on. Hello, Brandi.
Hello. I want to say aloha too. That's fun.
And what I want to do is share for those people listening or watching who don't know about you. And hopefully this is up to date because I think there's probably
It's not. I saw it. It's not up to date, but good. Go with it.
Well, yeah, we'll figure out what's current and what's not. But what I do know is you are an amazing person, and I love you. I'm so happy.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So
We had fun last time too, so I have a feeling that we're going to have a good time today.
yeah. So Brandi Strieter, Masters of Education, is an intuitive guide, energy healer, and certified mind, body, spirit practitioner. She is mentored under transformational thought leader Sunny Dawn Johnston since 2016 and is proud to be community ambassador to Elevate. That's probably different now, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm the community ambassador now, so
Okay.
that's part of it.
Okay. Sunny Dawn Johnston's international membership community, which is dedicated to personal growth and empowerment. She also serves as Sunny's personal photographer, social media specialist, and consultant for the multidimensional oracle cards. Yes. And okay, so what else are your roles?
What else are my roles? So I'm trying to remember how I updated that, but I think I've changed it over now, and I have owned the term ascension guide. So for a long time, that felt too far out there for me.
Okay.
And but now I own it. I know who I am, and I'm happy to share. So I've added ascension guide to it. And I think I put on there energy healer. I'm doing a lot of work with gemstones now.
Okay.
I was doing it just, for personal use before, but now I'm incorporating them in my sessions. And so that's cool. So I think I've added those two pieces.
Okay, beautiful. Well, so for those that don't know you, you have a very interesting background because you come from law enforcement originally. So very different than any kind of spiritual woo-woo work.
Totally different.
And so because we talked about that last time, I don't want to get into that whole thing, but I would love to know. So you and we've known each other for several years. And
I was trying to think, was that 2016, our first mastermind?
Yeah, I actually first met Sunny in 2017.
Okay.
So I think it's 2018.
The mastermind. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something like that.
Okay.
And so, so we've known each other and we've seen each other evolve, transform. Yeah. A lot.
It's such an honor to be on the journey with other people who you've, been through those vulnerable moments. In that group is where I learned to feel safe for the first time. And that's a pretty special thing, especially when you move out and you're sharing in a bigger and wider way. Those beginning roots, I hold those dear to me.
Yeah, I do as well. And I think that's actually that grounding that we had and that support, security is what actually allows us to blossom
Yeah.
really and go bigger and further out.
Right. I mean,
You
I
know,
shared some crazy stuff in there that I was the skeptic of myself, right? I didn't need anybody else to be. I was doing a really good job myself. And so when I think back to some of the vulnerable ways I shared about things coming in, like first of all, I can't believe I shared that. And now just to really see it manifesting in the physical, right?
mhm.
And in 2018 it was just the energy was there, but it was still an idea. I hadn't moved through the experience yet. And so to be in and have awareness of being on the other side while you're in it is there's just nothing like it.
Well, that's something I think that the audience would probably love to understand more. Maybe a little more about your journey in that piece of what, like maybe where you started from that point a few years ago, and then
Okay.
what did you do to actually feel comfortable and really being who you are? And now, because even a year ago, there were some things you weren't even ready to talk about.
I'm like, don't say this, don't say this, don't say this.
And now here you are, and you're like, okay, I'm open.
Yeah, right.
So,
You can ask me anything. I'm ready to go now. Um, so the biggest piece for me was, I mean, like I mentioned, I didn't I didn't I didn't have the words for it at the time, but I didn't feel safe in my body.
okay.
Um after, after the we all anybody who's going through this typically has some kind of dark night of the soul or breakdown, or there's a bunch of words you can call it, but that bottom point where you surrender and ask for help. And so first, I needed to be open to that,
Mhm.
because I had never been open to that before in my life. It took me to feeling death, because I was right there, to open up to other possibilities. And so once I was open, the first thing I needed was community to feel safe. I needed other people to reflect to me, as well as a mentor guide for sure. Um, gosh, I don't know how I would have done it without the support. Um, because because when the ego starts separating, it can feel, and it felt like for me that, not like I was going crazy, but like I couldn't trust my thoughts anymore.
Hmm.
And not because, I was going to do self-harm or hurt anybody else, nothing like that, but it just, I was unsure. I started to become unsure of everything because I didn't know it at the time, but as you expand your consciousness, right? Um, different opportunities open up, different things fall away. It's just very chaotic. It can feel like a very chaotic experience that, for me at the time, who was unaware, felt like I was going crazy.
Okay.
Um, and not something that I really verbalized to many
Mhm.
people, except I did say, my brain isn't working right, things like that. So I knew something was going on, but I didn't have words. And so that first group of ours, uh, was with Sunny, and we had homework every week, and I pretty much swore and kicked and screamed the whole time, right? I mean, but I did it all. I did it all, but
You
I
work. Yes.
right, but I'm vocal.
Mhm.
Um, but that allowed me to get the thoughts out of my head into physical, onto paper, just somewhere else, so that I could then have awareness, um, take a look at what it is that was coming in my energy field. And most of that homework, if not all, required us to share with the group. And so as we shared, it's a small group. w- I learned I could trust people.
Mhm.
I learned it was safe to be me. Um, I learned unconditional love. probably for the first time, not because it hadn't been offered to me before, but because didn't have awareness and worthiness and deservability issues, right? So
Yeah.
moving through all of those blocks. So if we're in a tunnel, I always see them as like obstacles in the tunnel, right? We're moving through the tunnel. So there's lots of obstacles we have to clear away to allow more light to come in so we can see more.
Yeah.
So it was really in that group where I started sharing very vaguely, not using any kind of names or titles or anything like that. And you'll notice I'm still very open, because the energy comes to me differently than it comes to other people. I mean, it's how it is for all of us, right?
Right.
And so this last year, so I started slowly. I start very slowly, kicking and screaming a little bit by time. In 2018 was the first time Sunny told me I was going to be a teacher. And I was like, you are, I, I don't know who you are or what you think you know, but that is not happening. In fact, when I got my master's degree, you could choose, because I did it through my department, you could choose leadership or counseling. Okay.
Okay.
I said, hell no to counseling. The last thing I want to do is talk to people. Like, anyway. So yeah, so it brings me to this point. And it was really once I started, it wasn't just working professionally. That was it. But it was taking it up to the next level, being seen more. Once I started being seen more, doing meditate, like I did the Angel Day meditation, just some of those events that put me out there more.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I was scared, guys. I was like, I'm always scared. I never want to do this stuff. Look at me. Like I am not, let me have that. That is not anything that I signed up for. And I know it's who I'm supposed to be. I know it's my highest version of myself. I know it's why I'm here right now. And I know I can help other people.
Mm.
I needed to have the experience, though, to
Yeah.
have confidence. So
Yes.
it's kind of like knowledge is up here, but until we actually experience it, we don't obtain the wisdom. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had lots of knowledge coming in, not just stuff I learned from mentors, but more of a remembering, right? So I had lots of stuff, but I hadn't yet gone through experiences that gave me, it's just different. Experiences give you compassion. It gives you perspective. It gives you empathy, um, and so I'm really grateful that, first of all, Sunny gave me the opportunity, because if she hadn't, my human ego self never would have felt worthy. Just
Yeah.
wouldn't. Now I do, because I've walked through it. But at the time, no, no. So practice, and kind of like me, you ask me to do something, I'm going to do it. But I may bitch a little bit about it, right? I mean, I do tend to bitch a little bit just right before we go, and then I'll let spirit in. But I'm
Yeah.
learning. See, we're all evolving. I'm learning to let that go a little bit.
We are. Well, and one of the things I love about what you just said. So you and we've done your human design actually on a
Yeah.
different Facebook show, and your profile is a 1-3,
Oh, good.
which,
I'm glad you know that. Remind me. Tell me what I am.
well, so what that means that is that you really need a steady foundation under you of research, of like you need practical, logical information. But then the 3 is the experiencer, the experimenter, who
Oh.
needs the additional information from hands-on experience to then have this wisdom that you can share because you have it from both sides.
Yeah. See, you just said that much prettier than I tried to say that. Yes. Whatever
Well,
Lisa said. Yes.
but no, yours, the way that you described it, I think people can resonate with that of that being true for them, because a lot of people have a 1 or have a 3 or even a 6. If you have a 6 in your profile, you act as a 3 for the first part of your life. And I'm a
Oh.
6. Yeah. And so So a lot of us need that really hands-on experience. And what I love about that too, for me, that I can see that I completely resonate with you, is that compassion and empathy. Because until I went through some of the really hard stuff in my life, I actually had judgment of people. And I was like, how can you stay in that situation? Or how can you do that? And then I went through it and I'm like, oh, that's how. Okay.
Yeah.
So from that place, then I was like, okay, I I don't have to stay stuck, but I know what it feels like, and I know how you can feel blocked, limited,
Mhm.
and then but that's then who we are here to be, is now share our wisdom. I'm like, okay, come along if you want.
Right? Well, it's so interesting you said that because it reminds me, it was within the last year, I got a hit and it was the most interesting, aha that I had received, and it was that my they were explaining that my previous, experience and career in law enforcement for those 10 years, um, the reason that I experienced that was
Mhm.
so that I would understand tough love.
Ooh,
Because and I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, you know how we do. I would have been too soft.
mm,
And it's true. Like, hello, training my dogs. No, I'm a softie. Like, I
yeah,
I know my kids. I just and that's but being a probation officer, that really allowed me to learn how valuable personal responsibility is, and that's what's needed for a shift, right? And
yeah,
so, yeah, when you were mentioning that, is like, yep, because we can also be too compassionate,
we can.
too empathetic. We can give too much, and it's that harmony, that balance.
Yeah, well, and we're not here to fix people. We can live our experiences, demonstrate maybe how we got through it, or and teach that, but it's up to the person to decide if they want that, if they're ready for it, because some
Right.
people aren't ready.
Yeah, my one of my biggest lessons when I was first learning with Sunny, and I didn't like it, is that I was pointing out somebody. I think it was probably my son. Um, I was spending energy trying to fix, and she said, "Is it possible that that could be a distraction from you working on you?"
Mm.
No, of course not. And like I felt that,
Mm-hmm.
how often we are looking outside,
Yeah.
for everything rather than looking inside. So
Yes.
yeah.
Well, so then once you started looking inside, I mean, you were really opening yourself up to some really amazing kind of higher dimensional experiences.
Yeah. So I know since that. So when I was going through this, I didn't know anything. What I later learned is that, when some people, have their awakening, they'll come from the bottom, like through yoga poses, come through the body, and open up that way. And what I learned about myself is I kind of did the opposite. I came down into the body. I don't have enough knowledge to know what any of that means. So all I know is for me, and I
Mhm.
think you'll probably remember, it was one of the first masterminds when I wrote about coming down into my body, and like I had a flashlight and I was looking around at all of the stuff I had to clean up. Like
Yeah.
that was I experienced that during meditation. I had the whole thing. Um of course at that time I had no idea. I'm like, wow. I thought it was probably my imagination. I mean, you just don't know. In the
Yeah.
beginning, you just don't know.
Right.
And not only do you not know, but at that time I was only connecting through meditation. So for a good maybe year at least, of regular meditation, I didn't. it was baby steps, right, for meditation. In the beginning, meditation took I don't know if this is normal or not, but took me to a safe space. Like that was my so I had a safe space and then portals opened and then from there we moved through. But when I came down into the body, I already had the awareness of the higher dimensional stuff. What I didn't know, I needed to learn how to be in the body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
And in my opinion, that's a whole lot harder than learning how to do that. Just saying. Um,
Yeah, Earth density is pretty intense.
yeah. And so we talked about feeling safe. And so when I had this spiritual awakening and became aware that I was more than I thought I was, um, it's overwhelming. All of this information is coming in and, your perspective starts shifting and your personality is changing and your self-identity is kind of you're questioning. So all of these things are happening at the same time and it can make it hard to trust or share,
Hmm.
right? It's still the unknown when it's out there. But with meditation, so I would meditate every day, every night in the bath with crystals for years.
Yeah.
Um, and that was my first time learning how. So Sunny, the Archangel Michael blue bubble meditation, it's like what, 5 minutes? It's some guided meditation.
Yeah.
Um, that was my first meditation, the only time I ever did it, and it opened up. So again, some of those things came very easy for me
Hmm.
because it was a remembrance. Um, some of the more third dimensional stuff
Hmm.
was a little bit more difficult to navigate because I had awareness of a higher perspective, yet I'm experiencing the lower dimension with the higher consciousness. Okay.
Right.
But you
Right.
don't know it. There's not like somebody calls you up and says, okay, this
Yeah.
is what's going to happen, right? The body innately knows how to evolve, knows how to expand. The body is the one going through ascension. We've already ascended, right? So the space that we're in right now is going to be the first time that humanity is going to be able to ascend in the body
Yeah.
with the third dimensional um, densities collapsing, which is really exciting time. But when all of that stuff was coming to me in 2017 and 2018, I'm like, what is ascension? What is consciousness? I mean, I was an atheist before my spiritual awakening. I didn't believe in anything. So this was really
Yeah.
foreign for me, but it comes a little bit at a time. And
Mhm.
so, a couple times I remember, once I got safe in my space, then I could expand just a little bit more, right? And
Yeah.
then when I expand a little bit more, I plugged in to different energy. Okay.
Hmm.
That plugging in allowed whatever energy I was in vibration with, allowed me to tap into that.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes when I would tap in, I would get scared. A couple times I remember my reaction, like I wanted to respond calm, but my nervous system reaction was to back up, right?
Okay.
Um, and so I remember I had awareness when I backed up, that's closing it off. So I had awareness the following night to say, okay, I'm ready. I'm not going to be scared anymore. And then when I reached out,
Hmm.
it was open. And
So,
so that's how the relationships kind of start.
what part of you do you think had the fear? Was it just not like fear of the unknown, or was it an energy that was just so foreign to you? Or
Yeah. So, hello, I didn't know what a higher self was. Like hello, I thought I was this person.
okay.
Like I'm telling you, like Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought I was this person. So I had no conscious awareness of anything outside. None. Um, I hoped. I thought it would be great. I always said, "Oh, those religious people, so good for them that they believe in that stuff because I bet that feels good." Like I had those conversations. Um, so when the knowingness come, and for me, and I shared it before, but it comes through quiet, comes through stillness. So as
Mhm.
long as we have the TV on constantly and the radio and the internet and the kids and the dogs and the work, and I would have never tapped in, right? Never tapped in. It
Right.
took not being mobile because of a broken foot, losing my hearing, not being able to see because of the light sensitivity. I mean, I was like, I was in. They pulled me. I was fighting. Like they pulled me all the way in, and it felt like this shell that I
Mhm.
had to break out of. Right. Um, so when the quiet came and when the knowingness started coming, what the fuck? I mean, I,
Mhm.
because I was moving through an illness at the same time, I did have concerns that there was neurological stuff going on.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and because of the doctor and the trauma, I did have a full psych eval and I was not going crazy. Um, but I still didn't feel confident enough to share until I shared in that group.
Yeah.
So when the higher self came and I tiptoed around that relationship, because it took a while. It's like a dance, and it took some time.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I was hearing things that I never would have come up with. Words, like old-fashioned words were a big one. Like I would just never speak that way. It wasn't
Right.
until I was open to that kind of situation where I started to have awareness. Well, what if? What if? So
Mhm.
look, I'm still not a full believer of anything, but I'm a what if gal about everything. I am curious, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to learn. I want to keep learning, and I want to keep exploring. And the more we know, we're going to keep learning more. So
Yeah.
yeah. So higher self, I danced around with higher self for probably 6 months um, before I really knew who it was.
Mhm.
I didn't know if it was spirit. I didn't know God. What the hell's God? Source, universe. Like, what is higher self? And then I started hearing the term inner child, and I'm like, what the hell is an inner child? I got a higher self. Like, I didn't even know all of these terms. Um, but I had a remember and a knowingness that wouldn't leave. Once I was starting to be interactive with the higher self, when I was in meditation, then um, the angels started coming.
Okay.
Okay, angels came, but it's not like they fly down and say, "Look, I'm blue, Archangel Michael." It's not like that at all. Um, it's like we'd think higher self. Like I thought it was hard to hear higher self. Like the angels are just a whisper of that. So y- for me, I needed to meet higher self first, who's loud, so I
Mhm.
could get in rhythm to the vibration. Once I was in rhythm to that vibration, then the angels started coming. And for me, the way they came for me, like I never asked specific. First of all, I could never remember who's who in the beginning. Um, but what they did is they started coming to me, and so it was like I was seeing a movie in my head,
Mhm.
and they were showing me experiences of my life, right?
Mhm.
Um, one of them was when I had emergency surgery. One of them was when there was a shooting in my office. Like there were big life-changing moments in history that
Yeah.
they then showed me they were responsible for. Oh, that was you. And I don't want to say like credit because they don't want credit, but that's how they introduced themselves to me. That's how I learned to feel the difference in frequencies because one would show me the experience and I would feel how in the body how I felt with that one experience and then I could connect who to who,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Once I was good with the angels, um yeah, see, and for me, and so what I'm hearing, for me, I get deceased loved ones' energy for
Mhm.
sure, but I don't connect and can do readings and at least not yet.
Yeah.
That's not where I am yet. I can get sayings, I can get images, I can get picture, I can do other stuff, but I can't do like an evidential type of reading yet. But what I can do is I very easily have the frequency of higher vibrational beings.
Mhm.
And much like the angels, it's very similar, right? I'll have an experience of something, whatever it is. I mean, something, it could be insignificant or whatever,
Mhm.
but then I'll have so it started with I know I should have. Do you remember how much everyone told me I should write it down? But it really started when I was walking and I would get full downloads, like
Mhm.
full downloads of ideas, um, and things that I didn't understand. So when I first made contact or connected, outside of me,
Mhm.
what I was told was that I was gonna be the bridge. Right, fucking bridge. Just heal me, right? Can you just heal me? Can I just be skinny and have hair? Really? That's all I wanted, right? I was not here to help humanity. Can I be skinny? No, really. Um, but it told me I was a bridge and that I was gonna help people from here to there. I didn't know where here was. I
Yeah.
didn't know we were at a here, and I had no idea where the there was at that time.
Mhm.
Um, but I know they called me a bridge, and and I know my purpose. I know that's why I'm here. So when I went through, there's personal ascension, right? Each one of our bodies goes through a personal ascension, which I believe that's what I went through the last 9 years,
Okay.
8. Okay.
Mhm.
My personal ascension, where we shift vibrations, expand our consciousness, we can tap into more.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's also a collective ascension where humanity, the humans on earth, are going to ascend as a collective. So it's in that collective awakening, where I believe my purpose is.
Okay.
And it allowed me to move through it before many
Mhm.
so that I could shine my light.
Right.
And and I know darkness. I know darkness well. And and I know the fear, yet I know it only takes one light. And so, I'm just really honored to be in this space because had I had somebody, I for sure had you guys, but had I somebody who could explain with words, right? Because as humans, words are like the least effective way to communicate.
Right.
But in third dimension, in our egos, we need words to understand.
Mhm.
And it's there's not a lot of words to explain what we're moving through as far as consciousness.
Mhm.
Um, and so I know that I can help. I know why I'm here. I know I can help. The collective has always been um, ready to partner, should I say? Um, and And I'm happy to share about that too, because the energy is just nothing like what anybody thinks it is,
Yeah.
right?
I
It's nothing like. It's and
yeah.
and we can talk about it, but until you have an experience, right? You don't know. And so for me, I feel like my job then is to communicate and shine the light because hey, I see the fear, I get it. Right there, I get it.
Yeah.
And I can also see beyond it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Um, and it's just so important for people to have that knowledge to help them through the shift.
Hmm. No, that's beautiful because um, there's so many of us in this
Am I
community
one of you now?
that I we're,
No, I think it's great. I'm just kidding, Lisa.
oh, I know, but I like, we're all on our evolutionary journey,
Yep.
and everyone has their own timing and how they come about, you know, information, experiences, and kind of like you, finally, only in the last year or two have I been able to feel like I can actually shine my light and step in and not care what other people are thinking. My former life has completely dissolved away. And I mean, it exists in a different timeline. But,
Well, and that's what's gonna happen for everybody. I mean,
yeah,
anybody who chooses this, right?
right,
And the choice is already done on a soul level anyway, but,
right.
um, you know, it's it's not this or that, right?
Yeah,
It's a challenge and it's a brilliant it's just it's a brilliant plan.
yes, yes. Well, and I mean, I just, again, over since 2018 when I met you, just the complete shift and evolution in you. And I mean, it's, well, and we need more. Like, I mean, like everyone who's listening or watching and you resonate with this, we invite you to do the work. And it's not always easy. And like it does take shutting off the outside noise.
Yeah.
Because if you're just parked in front of your Netflix or whatever distraction, then I mean, that's fine. There's no judgment there,
Right.
but it's not going to help you necessarily.
Right. If your soul has been called in this lifetime, to move through the ascension process, then life is going to shift, and it's going to shift in amazing ways. And look, nothing like you expected it to. But it's so important to remember if we go back to that tunnel,
Mhm.
right? In order to receive all of that light coming through that tunnel, we got to clear ourselves up, like when I came into the bottle came into the body with the flashlight, right? So clean it up. It doesn't mean, and this is where I get a little frustrated. It's in the trauma talk. It's important to have awareness
Yes.
and integrate and
Mhm.
transmute trauma. No doubt. It's one of the ways that we have to move through the obstacles to get to the light. But many people, and I understand why, because I've moved through it, but a lot of people get stuck in in the speed bump, right? In the incident, in the past experience, right?
Yes.
And when you're in the past experience, it's easy to get stuck, right? I've been stuck before.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it's a lot more easy to get stuck because you're learning how to get out,
Right.
right? Um, but to remember that if those speed bumps are there, you're able and you're able right now to transmute those, and that's why they're there.
You
And
can.
and to not go digging because I have still have stuff. I have some pretty some pretty big pieces that I haven't yet integrated. Um, I wouldn't say pretty big. I did most of the big ones already. This is a little piece, okay, Brandi. I'm not. Let me get my story straight.
Okay.
There's still a little piece
Okay.
that I want to integrate, and I haven't had it. It hasn't come up yet. It hasn't come up. Um, I I am consciously aware of myself that I want to make sure I'm not resisting it, right?
Mhm.
So I have to be aware of that
Yeah.
because I'm like, well, I know this is here. Should I look at it yet? It's like that kind of thing, right?
Right.
It hasn't come up yet. And so it either hasn't come up yet because it's not in my way, or
Mhm.
it hasn't come up yet because I'm not yet ready able to do it. And either way is fine.
Yeah.
Um, but to not go digging, right? A lot of
That's
people want to go dig in and start getting the stuff out. And then what happens is the body can't shift that fast, can't process that fast, can't transmute that fast, right? And so then a lot of people end up getting sick or quitting, right?
mhm.
And then it doesn't get done at all. So
Right.
it's that little consistent being open, asking for guidance, dance. I
And
always forget what the questions are when I'm talking, so
no,
I totally went off.
this is a just a full-on conversation, right?
Yay!
It's
Well,
just
hey,
it's not an interview, that's for sure. And that's why I like keeping it as open as possible, just to see what's going to come out, because it's usually brilliant.
well, I really like the alien guy looking back at me when I'm talking to you.
Okay, well, good.
Does he
Yes,
have a name?
that one's Uluru.
Uluru.
Uluru,
Uluru.
which is a representation of my Arcturian.
Ooh, very interesting.
Yes, and like when we first met, never would have thought for myself that I would be channeling extraterrestrials.
Well,
You
I
know,
remember we just talked about this a couple of years ago too, and we were both like right there, and we're like, maybe. I'm like, yeah, I know we'll do it in the future, but I don't know.
yeah. So,
Well, so cool. I mean, I'm sure that that's a story in it as of itself, how that actually came to be. I'm envious if you had the um, energy and awareness to record, because I certainly wish my first year I had recorded more of what came through.
yeah, actually, that is something when I was practicing, I
Yeah.
did demo record myself. Yeah,
So good.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I knew, and well, but I was being told to. It was like you need, and because
Yeah,
I
they told me to, but I didn't listen.
okay,
See,
well, I did.
I good. But you were always the rule follower. See, I didn't follow rules and now I'm upset.
Right? I that is true. I am a rule follower. I'm really good at that in
Yeah.
general. Unless I don't like the rule, and then I don't. But
Well, it worked out for you this way because I really regret not having some of those early um because they were funny. Learning is fun. Like
yeah,
once you open up to learn and it becomes interactive, life's a whole all different.
it
Like
is.
life's fun. I'm like, who am I going to talk to today? Right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
I my husband, I came back home yesterday and my husband was out of town, and I don't and no judgment on anybody because I didn't used to be like that. But I don't have I am in silence all day. Um because that's easiest for me to maintain my vibration
Mhm.
and not get distracted. Um and get the and be a clear channel, right?
Yeah.
But my husband is like, "You were home all day with nothing on?" Because he enjoys having any kind of stimulation in the external, right?
Yeah.
And because most of us, that's what we grew up with. We
Yeah.
were programmed to not think for ourselves and not feel.
Mhm.
And it's a scary thing to do in the beginning. But
Mhm.
if you have the courage to step out a little bit, it does. I mean, life is interactive, right? You
It is.
become what's that meme? You become your producer, actor, and director all at the same time. And that's true. You are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband's very similar to yours in terms of just, yeah, just need stimulus,
Yeah.
external Yes, and
I know. We can't point out that the reason why they don't want to turn it off, but that's okay. We know.
right, yeah. Well, and what's interesting though is in my younger years, I, well, especially in my teenage years and in my 20s, I had the hardest time just being with myself
Oh, that's the
because
worst person to be with. Are you kidding me?
I had to have people around all the time. And because I didn't want to deal with my stuff, I think it was totally a distraction. Now I love being with myself. I love it when no one's
I think that's it. I think it's an acceptance, Lisa. I mean, it's a surrender and acceptance.
yeah,
Like, I'm enough.
yeah,
I'm enough.
yeah. That was, yeah, for me, that was a huge like turning point in my life. Yeah,
And the other thing, I mean, and I say this to my friends all the time, but we get in these habits of listening to podcasts in the car or whenever we're driving, we're listening because I'm like you guys, I have a whole bunch of favorite things that I'm behind on. So I do like to get caught up right when I'm driving, but my best connection is when I'm driving because when the ego is in autopilot driving, I'm open,
yeah,
right? I'm open. So I always invite people, turn it off when you're driving and just listen what comes in. That's a great place to start.
yeah. I, for me, like just, I think the white noise of the hair
Mm.
dryer and even the shower that comes in those moments.
Yes.
But also like it's so, and I can't, I think, I don't remember how you are in your human design and your crown and your ajna, but I'm undefined. And so I have to have things probably quiet or just a way for things to drop in. And it's
Mm.
random when it does.
Oh, that sounds like me too.
Yeah. So it's not like a constant stream, but
Mm.
but I can like actively like tune in and do that. But if it's just going to come organically, it's just going to be random. So,
I'm gonna have to pull up my human design chart again and take a look because I used to know it and then I forget.
okay.
But yeah, that was all spot on. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm what you are.
Yeah. Well, and what's, I've had someone ask me recently, well, so human design is very like grounded, earth based, and you're doing this galactic work. How does that help you? And I'm like, well, because I came here to be human in this life as well. That is, I'm human, living a human experience. And so knowing how I operate as a human, and it helps me immensely.
We for sure have to learn how to be human. Um, I was just gonna say something too about that. It'll come back to me.
Yes,
Um, oh, I hate when that happens.
it's all good. So so now, do you still do your daily baths with your crystals and get the downloads, the connections, or is it coming in different ways?
Yeah, a couple years ago, and it starts really slow. So in the beginning, it was just in meditation. I was a normal person living life, and I didn't think about anything until I went to my bath, and then I became woo woo. And I had those experiences for I would say a good year and a half, maybe even 2 years. I'm not really sure. Um, But then it starts leaking out, right? And it's like a slow leak. Um, and you don't really notice it at first. Then those ahas start coming, right?
Mhm.
Or you're seeing the signs, or so there's that slow leak that people can be in. Some people, first of all, some people never get to the leak, right? Some
Right.
people don't even know. Like me, I would have never known. Um, Never would have known had I not gone through what I did.
Mhm.
Um, and some people stay in that leak for their whole lifetime,
Right.
right? Um, because although it's a natural innate process, it does require there's still free will, right?
Yes.
There's still personal responsibility and free will. So we have to be an active participant. Okay. Not choosing, not taking action, not doing. That's a choice too.
Mhm.
Right. And
It is.
so if you're open to experiencing more and becoming the higher version of you and creating a higher timeline, that's another thing. Like there's so many timelines available right now. Before it, it, it wasn't like this just a few years ago,
Um,
right?
actually, no, that's not true
Well,
because
for me, in my experience,
okay, because I'm like all timelines exist simultaneously, and
in
so
my personal experience, so what happens for me is I'll expand my consciousness for a certain level, right? And
Mhm.
then I'll have more opportunities and ways to attract at that level. But as we are continuously evolving, more come open. So that's what I meant.
Okay,
Um, so as we move through, more do become available because we're vibrating at a higher consciousness. Yeah, they were always there, but they weren't available
okay,
until we're a vibrational match,
yes,
right?
yes. Well,
Okay.
and the more that we are focused on whatever it is we want to create, whatever timeline we want to be a part of, and energetically act as if.
Right. Right. So that acting has to come before the manifestation, that feeling part, that action piece.
Feeling, the focus, the knowing,
Yeah.
right? The full trust and faith. And it may take linear time, right? It's
It
not,
took time for me. It took linear time. It
yeah,
seeped in for a
and
while until it became part of my being, and it
right,
wasn't like a light switch. One day you're black and the next day you're white. It's not like that. It's like cell by cell by cell starts vibrating at a different frequency, and the shift is really subtle because the human body can't take on that shift in frequency. It would blow up, right?
yeah,
So it's like a balloon. We're going to slowly build our capacity to hold more.
yeah, yeah. No, that's true. And even with the channeling piece for me, it's been practice, right? Because my body, running that amount of energy through my body,
Yeah,
I
I don't even know how to do it like you do. I don't know.
when I first started, like I was wiped out,
Yeah,
but I knew I had to do electrolytes and stuff just to fuel my body to
yeah.
get it working again. But there was a few months ago, I was leading one of my sessions, and it was the Arcturian session, and there was so much energy coming through my body that it knocked out my electricity when I was teaching class, and it took a little while to get that electricity to turn back on. And fortunately my students were still there on Zoom, and they
Wow.
kind of, I was texting them telling them what was going on, and so they were helping me energetically, like, okay, let's bring the energy down and release it.
Yeah.
And then I
See?
got back on.
But but so we're talking about lessons and the capacity to build. And so I mean, what a great lesson and teaching moment, right? Like,
Right.
and scary for you too at the same time.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I was just like, okay, wow.
yeah. I
But
don't I'm not a big fan of embodied challenge. I don't know.
okay. Well, it's becoming more and more comfortable for me. And
Good.
now, over the last few months, again, they told me at the beginning of the year that I would be bringing in different groups.
Mhm.
And so I have. So every week has been a different group. Now,
Awesome.
what's made that more comfortable for me was the full realization that every one of these groups is an aspect of me. It's not it's not something separate from me. It is me.
Yeah.
And so when I can shift myself into that reality of like, okay, this is me being this and bringing that into this earth embodiment. Number one, there's no fear on my part of like, what am I bringing through? But also, it just, I don't know, it makes it easier to connect.
I Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. So I'm a breadcrumb follower. I mean, that's how I get my information. I have little pieces, and so if I am led that way, if I'm guided that way, I for sure will do that. It just
Yeah.
hasn't crossed my field yet.
Yeah.
Um, I tend to I most of the information I get is all ascension related.
Okay.
Almost all of it. I mean, that's why I'm here. That's like I know that's what it's here.
Right.
There's different collectives who work more with that energy
Yeah.
at different times.
Yes.
Um, so I think for me, well, when you said that because they're all aspects of you, um, I really appreciated that because when I was first learning, um, and we don't know until you know, right? When I was first learning, what very first came to me, my original, as my original spark of consciousness was Andromeda. Okay.
Hmm.
Like I knew that. And I never even knew what that, I never even heard that word before. So I know I didn't make it up. I had to look it up.
Yeah.
Um, and so for a really long time, and I'm sure I said it to you, I'm Andromedan. That's what I thought.
Right.
That was my level. That was my level of awareness. I didn't understand for about probably a year, um, when the remembrance
Hmm.
of lifetimes in other planets and galaxies. I didn't remember any of that until about a year ago. And
Hmm.
once I did, then I agree, just what you said, that fear piece
Hmm.
um, did did release. Um, okay, so, but what I'm hearing for me is that my job is the bridge.
Yeah.
I would love to be up here, and I know that my job is down here right now.
Yeah.
But I'm open to that changing, shifting soon because I've already said I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. Like, I'm
Hmm.
happy to help. I'll be the bridge and I'll hold your hand, but I'm not going to convince you.
Right. Same. And I
Just
never try to convince anyone of anything.
right.
I used to when I was young and dumb, less wise, less
Well,
wise.
because we didn't trust ourselves yet, right?
Right.
And that's
Right.
okay. You don't trust yourself until you
Yeah.
have experience.
Yeah. Well, and you as a bridge, I mean, I would say that's the same kind of analogy as me as an ambassador. It's the same
Right.
thing. It's a bridge to
Sure.
different reality
Yep.
that is something beyond this third dimensional earth existence.
Hell yeah. I mean, could you even imagine? I'm not looking at the time. I'm sorry. We could go on, but I was just going to say, could you imagine what world would be like if we were just celebrated for our beings? I'm just going to say one thing real quick. So, Billy just graduated high school a couple weeks ago, and um, his accomplishments,
Hmm.
he had a 4 point something GPA. He got a full ride scholarship. He got all that stuff, right? He did a great job.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to, not for us, but that was for him. But the coolest thing was during his graduation speech, a different administrator, teacher gave a speech for each kid. It's a small school, 12 kids only.
Okay.
Um, so the assistant principal gave his speech.
Hmm.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to send it to you just so you could see it because it's amazing, and all it talked about was love.
Oh,
That he's such a loving person,
mhm.
friend, he's compassionate, and, like, everything that we teach, we embody, right? We've learned. I was, like, sitting there going, "Is this really happening?" Like, totally. Like, I sent the thing to Sunny and stuff. I'm like, "What is happening?" Right? Like, this is how it should be, right? Or how it
Yeah.
could be,
How it
or,
could,
how we're gonna create it, how we're gonna co-create it to be. Um, and just simply amazing. And how cool would life be if us as just energetic beings have a physical experience, can celebrate each moment? Like
yes. Yes.
that's the new earth.
That is the new
That's
earth.
what we're creating right now.
It is. It is. And yes, please send it to me.
Well, and
Because,
just to even get a slice, because that's a little piece of physical manifestation, right? That's something that we can see. We as a collective made that shift.
Yes.
We made that shift. I don't think there's ever been a speech at that school like that before.
Yeah.
The rest of them weren't like that,
Hmm.
but it just takes one spark.
Well, it does. And you shining your own light and allowing your son to be who he really is. Because I know that
Yes.
that's been a journey in
Yeah.
your family. And
Oh, for sure.
so just honoring him and letting then his light shine through in that way.
And
But
celebrating us, because us moms, guys, we're the shifters.
yeah,
We're on the front lines. We're doing the work. Okay? Not a surprise, it's a woman. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. But it's it's the women. It's the women, it's the female energy that's going to bring it back to balance.
well, yes. And that's something that has been coming through for the last few years for me. The divine feminine, really, it's that time for the divine feminine to step forward again and not like,
Voice.
and patriarchy is different than the divine masculine. So it's time to
Sure.
be in balance once again and understand that feminine power and wisdom
Sure.
and
And
beauty.
we can celebrate women without pushing men down, right? 'Cause
Exactly.
anytime we're in resistance of anything or separation, we're not in
Yes.
alignment. So
Mhm.
I'm I'm team humanity.
Yes, me
I'm
too.
team humanity. Yeah. And I'll just end with that. But yes.
Well, so and we are out of time now, but I didn't know exactly what we were going to be talking about. I just knew I was excited to have you on again and see your
Me too.
face. And so tell people how they can find you, and do you offer sessions? And Dana wants you to teach a meditation class.
Ooh, yeah. You know what? I taught a meditation class in 365, but I'm happy to teach another one.
She wants
I'll
a live one.
I did a live one, but I'll do another live one too.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think she's
Dana
more,
Estes?
yeah,
Cool. All right, Dana. I'll
yeah,
put that on the list.
because she falls asleep, or she when she's been doing my sessions, it's like either she's going too deep and but not remembering, and that's happened to a few of my people. Like they are being taken somewhere completely different, and then
Mhm.
other people are they think they're falling asleep. They're still getting it at a deep level. So
Yeah, and so I'm happy to teach one, and thank you for being here, Dana. Um, and falling asleep is totally okay.
right,
We have to honor our body, our physical vessel. Our physical vessel knows more than our mind, right? Um, your body has the ability to shift states of consciousness based on your vibration, and and if your body goes to sleep, then let's honor that body because that body must need the rest. And what's happening is you're probably integrating pieces of higher dimensional light each time and you're building your capacity. So at some point, it's just going to be in alignment.
yeah,
But if you want to remember, we can remember. The ego likes to remember. It does. Like we all have to have our spot. And so what I found is once people get their spot, once they can be guided to a spot, then it's a lot easier to tap in.
yeah.
So for me, I needed to be guided that first time to remember. And then the knowingness kind of came back.
Okay.
So
So
sure, let's have a meditation class.
yep, and Brandy's in Phoenix, Arizona. So for
I'm in
those
Phoenix
of you that
and my website is brandystrieter.com. It's there's my name. I was gonna spell it, but it's right there. Um, I do sessions. I do have a friends and family discount. So if somebody does want to schedule a session, I'll do it for the next couple days and give everybody a discount if anybody does a session. I'm also the community ambassador for Sunny Don Johnston. So you can go to Sunny's page and get all the info there for upcoming classes and events and travel.
yes, and you do different teachings for her communities as well.
Yeah, I do. And I'm so excited. So we talked about the Flagstaff house. Did you know we're doing a retreat up there in August?
Okay. Yes. So,
So
okay. Just 1 minute.
okay,
Tell
one more minute.
me what you say about
The
that. So,
house in Flagstaff. Um, oh my God, it's like so I'll just tell you what came to me this weekend. I'm like, I needed a name because I just say the cabin in Flagstaff, and first it's not a cabin, and we
right.
need another name. Like,
Yeah.
so I asked Lighthouse.
Hmm.
I was like, huh. So I'm sitting with it. But
Okay.
I think that that's interesting. But yeah, we are having a retreat up there the first weekend of August. I think it's August 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. And oh, it's just amazing. Did you see the big heart I posted yesterday?
Yeah. The quartz part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Sunny and I went to the gym show in Quartzsite
Yeah.
last year, and I bought 13 rough stones.
Okay.
That was one of the polished ones that I got though. But they're amazing, and we just got them put in, and all the furniture's there, and Kuan Yin's there, and the labyrinth, and I
I know.
put a swing set for my inner child too. So
All
I'm
right.
super excited about that. Um, and it's really an amazing, it's a sacred space. Like I said, I've been there before.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
very healing.
how beautiful that you have the ability to create a magical sacred space for yourself and for others to be able to experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and for those of you who don't know, I mean, Lisa, I was shopping for houses and buying that house and then decorating that house and then starting on the backyard. So it's been a process, but yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait to do some healing work up there.
Yeah.
Um, the galactic energy is pretty strong up there. We're not far from where Meteor Crater is. Our
Mm.
meteorite is from there. Yeah, it's a pretty magical place.
Okay. Well, Brandi, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thank you. This was super fun. It was like we were having a conversation, just friends. And
It
I
is.
wanted to say hi to all the friends. I know some people popped on, and I'm not good at reading comments and talking. That's multitasking.
I know.
So
We have Lyndon, Dana, and Shelly, and Janice, and Cindy, and Joy, and Kathy, Rachel.
nice.
So,
Look at our soul sisters there. I just love our
yeah,
community and love you guys and honored to be here.
yes. Well, for those watching and listening, thank you so much. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel so you can see all the episodes. And I'll see you next time on Connection to the Cosmos. Aloha.
Hello.